Okay, today, by the end of the period, I'm hoping that you can do complicated Venn diagram problems, which basically are those conditional ones, like given we're only picking from the males, then what's the probability? And also, we're going to have some triple Venns where we have three Venn diagrams, or three circles that all overlap, and we'll have some creating of those. Also learning about a complement to, which is like everything that's not. So tell me, what's the complement to pepperoni up here? And don't say sausage. What's the complement to pepperoni? Complement means everything that's not pepperoni, so that and that. Those are the complement to pepperoni. Okay? Sometimes we do that with a little c up in the upper right-hand corner, like a raised exponent c. That means complement of. Does that make sense to you so far? All right. So it's the thing that's not them. All right. So do you remember that symbol? I raised my hands over my head, like here's my little hands. And those are fingers on the hands. Anyway, and I was like, yeah, everybody can come in. Okay, union is like a big group of a whole bunch. Okay, so union, does that mean or does it mean and? And think about it first. Or. Okay, it does say or right there. And or is the one where you have lots of things put together. Don't think of this as this or this. Or means I win if this or this or this. It's a big group and you put them all together. So that's an or. How about and? Which of these, 1, 2, 3, or 4 would be and? And would be 2. And remember that and is that. It's kind of like an N. You get how it's like an N, an A-N-D? See? Oh, it's got the right symbol for and. It's dumb, but it might help you remember it. Okay. Complement with the little c raised up like that represents everything not in A. So regions 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be all of it. What's the complement to A? Just 3 and 4. You getting this terminology? That's the main thing for today is the complement thing along with the triple Venns. All right, so now you sometimes have to make the Venn. Like I practiced that with you yesterday. I'd like you to read this one and figure out how to put what where. And be careful. Don't just slap things in like, oh, 85 and 95. And then you'll be like, wait a minute, that's impossible because it's supposed to add up to 1. So think it through about how to divide this up. And it's kind of like a little logic question. There's going to be a number here, 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 and there. I'll pause for a second while you try to figure this one out. So let's see how you did on this one. Susie has a math quiz and a French quiz on the same day. The probability she gets an A on her math quiz is 0.85. All right, can I just put the 0.85 there? No, because the total is 0.85. All right, so I'm going to put the 0.85 somewhere, but I'm going to put it here by the math. Okay. Probability she gets an A on her French quiz is 90%. Okay, 0.90. The probability she gets an A on both is 0.80, and that was a big key. Where does that go? And if that's in the middle, then can I just slap in automatically all 4 spots? Yeah, actually you can. Let me show you why. I can get these two because together they have to make what? 85, so this is 0.05. And I can get these two because together they have to make 90, so this must be 10. And what does that add up to then? 95, that leaves how much? 0.05 has to be there, and that means there's only a 5% chance that she won't get an A on either test. And, you know, she must be a really good student or whatever, so. Not like one of those kids that skips their homework and, you know, like, anyway. So what's the probability she gets an A on her math or French quiz? Math or French? Math or French was both of those together, and that makes 95. Raise your hand if you're good with that. Okay, good. Then let's move on. This is going to be very similar, and except we've got a complement thing. She does not get an A on her French quiz. Do you get how that technically means this, and therefore is the complement to French? So it's pretty much, complement means not that. So not French would be another way to say it. Not French means must be that one or that one. Okay? So in this particular case, if it's 5, 80, and 10, and 05, then we put them together like this and say, probability she does not get an A on her French quiz means 05 and 05 together, which makes 10% chance. Technically, I'm dividing by everything that's possible, which is what? 1. Why am I reminding you about that? Because in a minute, you won't just be adding them together. You'll be dividing them by something. But right now, we've had always 1 as the thing we divide by. How could that change? I divide by something else, like what? How could this add up to something other than 1? If I said, given I know she got an A on her French test, does that change things? What does it change? At the bottom. It's what's possible has changed. If it's given I know she has an A on her French test, then only 2 things were possible. This and this. If that's the case, what's the probability she did not get her A on her French quiz? That's kind of a dumb question, but if I know she got an A, what's the probability she did not get an A? 0. Okay? So what if I change the question? What if I say, I know she got an A in French because she's really, really good in French, and she told me she got an A on her French test. Then, what's the probability she got an A on math? I know a lot of people are just going to say, that one. Because that's her getting having the French A and getting the A in math. That's wrong. Because it's always out of what's possible. If I said that she got an A on her French test, only these 2 were possible. That's out, that's out. The possibles are supposed to go on the bottom, added together. 0.80 plus 0.10 makes 0.9 on the bottom. Do you get how that's going to change my answer? Okay, so the actual answer would be, given I know she got an A on French, what's the chance she got an A on math also? It's 0.80 divided by the things that were possible. So it's 0.80 divided by 0.90. The answer is not just 0.80. Think about it. Isn't it more likely if she got an A on her French test? Because now there's less things that it's out of. All right. Move on to a different one. We're going to get more of these. So, given she gets an A on her math quiz, okay, see if you can answer this one. I'm going to reveal these because I don't think there's any reason we can't have them there. So, there we go. Given she gets an A on her math quiz, what's probably she also gets an A on her French quiz? It's very similar to what we just did, a little different. Divide it and actually get the decimal. If you haven't got your calculator out yet, get it out now. I'll pause while you do that. Okay, I got your calculator out, not because I didn't think you could add, because what's involved? Division. All right, so if we're dividing a couple things here, what are we dividing? Well, we have to figure out what's possible first. Given changes the denominator. It's not out of 1 anymore. What's it out of? 0.85. These were the things that were possible. So 0.85. Then, what do we want? Remember, it's always what we want over what's possible. What did we want out of this? She also gets an A on French, which is which one? So it's 0.80 divided by 0.85. What did you get? 94? Raise your hand if you got 94%. Okay, awesome. All right. Was this a not French kind of question? Was this a complement of question? No, it was not. We were actually using math. We weren't using not math. We were using math. Okay. So, yes? If it had been a complement question, then we would say everything that's not in this, like everything not in math, which would mean like these two. Okay. Like, what would you take it out of? Still 1, or would you take it out of? If it had been a complement, here's how I could make it a complement of question. Given I know she did not get an A on her French test, do you get how that would be? The complement of French? Okay, so then what's it out of if she did not get an A on French? Nope. What it's out of is everything that's possible. If it's not French, what's it out of? Yep, 0.05 plus 0.05 is what's possible. Okay, Mr. Distractible. Stay focused. All right. So, how about the, if I say, given he did not get a French A, then what's the probability of a math A? What would I put on top now? Probability of getting an A in math, given they did not get an A in French. 0.05 out of 0.10, which is a 50-50 chance. It's like 1 out of 2. Okay. Okay. So you got to start getting used to these. They are still telling you what they mean down here, so that's an or. But try to remember that's an or, and that's an and. Think of it as like the middle letter of and. See, it's like an upside down. That symbol. So that's like and. So this is our first triple Venn. You notice how there's 3 circles now? Okay. What's A union B mean? Which areas qualify for A union with B? Well, how about we say it this way? Which don't qualify for A union B? 7 and 8. How about 4, 5, and 6? Are they in A or B? Yes, they are. So 4, 5, and 6 do work. Only 7 and 8 don't work. So these are the ones that are in A union B, and it's like a big union, like the Union of the United States of America. Big group all together. All right. So how about A intersect C, also known as AND? A and C, which qualify to be A and C? 4 and 5. And means intersect, kind of like 2 roads overlapping at an intersection. Here's Highway 101, here's Highway 7. That's the intersection between them. It's where they overlap. It's where A and C overlap. So 4 and 5 would be those 2. Okay, so now can you put that all together into make this Venn diagram and then answer the question about it? I'll actually ask the question when you're done. So try to make this Venn diagram. You'll have to use clues, and I have one tip for you. If they give you the center, that's the most important thing, then you should immediately put it on the chart. As soon as you find the middle, the very middle, that's the key to everything else. That one right there. It's the cornerstone. It's the absolute most important part. I'll pause while you try this one. You know, just so we all have the same, let's just make it, I think this is logical. That's A, that's B, this is C. Can you please make your circles that way? Because otherwise your answers will look totally different than mine. If we make A, B, and C the same, then our answers should be the same. I'll pause while you try that one. Okay, so we're back, and seems like we have unity on this answer. Does anybody disagree with it? Okay, good. So now I'm going to ask you a question about it, and this is about as complicated as they could get. You ready? Put on your big boy pants. Here we go. Or big girl pants. Given that newspaper C is the only newspaper that we're going to poll, I guess you'd say. We're going to only poll people who get newspaper C. What's the probability that they also read A or B? I'll say that again. Given the only people we're going to ask are people who read newspaper C, what's the probability that they will also be a newspaper A or B reader? I'm going to pause for a second. Let me try that one. Okay, let's see if you did it right. A lot of kids think they have it. Let's see if you have it right. As soon as I said we're only going to be working with people that read C, do you get that I'm canceling that out? Because all those other numbers cannot be used. And the only ones that are possible should get added up and put on the bottom. So 27 and 20 is 47, 50, 62, 75. Do you get 75? Well, all I'm saying is if I add those up, I should put them on the bottom, and it should be 75 just because thankfully they apparently did it right. So, all right. Now, probability of A or B. That's what I want. This is possible. This is what I want. What I want is A or B. Or means add them. That plus that plus that. So you should have had 30, 48. 48 out of 75. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. I think you're getting this, and I think this is going to be no big deal for you. So it gets harder, of course, but I mean, that is about as tough of a contingent probability question as you would have. I guess I can make it a little more complicated, but that's the basic idea. Okay, and that's just the answers we already read off. All right, what is that? It's a probability Venn, which just means every single number that you had would be divided by what? 1. False. Dividing by 1 doesn't do anything. The total number. Okay, the total number of people. Did they ever say back here how many total people were? 125. So you take all the numbers that you had in your chart, like this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and you divide them by 125. That's really simple to get a frequency Venn. You just take your numbers and divide them by how many there were total. Okay, so would you use this, please, to find the probability of A only? It's a really simple answer. If you don't know it already, you're messed up. Because A only means just A, as in it can't be anything else. So that's the one right there. Raise your hand if you already knew that. Okay, good. If you were busy adding all those up, this one is not A only. It's A and B. So you can't say it's A only. All right, on to this one. Probability of none. I already know it. Do you? What is it? 0.08. Good. It's that one on the lower right. Okay. Probability of at least 2. Ooh, that twists it a little bit because we don't know necessarily if it's A or B or A or C or B or C or C or A or so. What's the probability that you pick a person who reads at least 2 papers? This is definitely a dated question though, because I don't know. Actually, let me ask just a quick poll. How many of you guys at your home actually receive a paper delivered? Like, I'll even go with weekly, once a week. Not a magazine, a paper, newspaper. Well, that's a fair amount of people in here. Okay, cool. I thought they were going more extinct than that. Used to be pretty much everybody get a paper. Now it's down much lower than it used to be because of online, of course. But I think they changed their model to make it really cheap to get the paper if you want it. And so it's still, so probably more people have it than would have because they lowered their prices. All right. You should have gone with this and this and this. True or false? Why not? The middle one is at least 2 papers because it's 3. You should have added all those up and you'd have it. All right, good. Next one. Probability of paper A / paper B. What does slash mean? Given. Given paper B, that tells you the bottom. Probability of paper A. Given that they get paper B, newspaper B, those are your possibles. Probability that they get paper A. I'll pause for a second. Compare it to the kid sitting next to you when you've got it. Okay. Paper B was the given. That means all of these added up on the bottom. Somebody already has that. What is it? 0.4. Thank you. And then I want probability of paper A. Remember, don't pick this one. Why not? Because it's not part of the possible. The only ones possible are in the circle. These are not possible. So it almost might be good if on the test you were to lightly scribble out, things that aren't possible so you don't by accident grab them. That's part of A, but it's not possible. These are the only ones that are in A and are possible. Do you get why both of those should be part of your answer? Because they both are people who read A. So they both are part of your answer, so you add them together on top. 0, 5, 6, and 1, 2. Raise your hand if you had that one. Okay, that means the final answer should have been 0.44. All right, moving on. This is, I think we've done enough of those. Yeah, that one's a little complicated. So let's get this one a try. Paper B and C, given paper B or C. This, I'm guessing, will only get half the class will get it right. Try to get it done in the next 30 seconds. You can do this. You can do it. Maybe I'll give you a minute. We'll see. Okay, here's what you should have done. B or C, or means you add them together. All of these are the possible. There's a smart way and a not a smart way to get that answer. You can add them all up, and that's probably what most of you did. Or you could take 1 minus the ones you don't want. Those two. So you could take 1 minus 0.08 minus 0.144. Either way works, but okay. Then once you got them all, those go on the bottom. Those are the possibles. What did that add up to, by the way? Can anybody verify 776? Okay, good. And then the other one is the what's on top, and that's B and C. Now this is important. And sounds like a big answer. It's not. It's only where B and C come together. It didn't say B and C only, because otherwise this wouldn't have counted. You get how that's A and B and C? But it said, didn't say only. It said B and C. So this is B and C, and so is this B and C. So it's those two together, which is 0.12 plus 0.104. Who had that same exact thing as me? Ooh, I've got a few people got lost on that one. Final answer should have been 289. Can anybody verify that that's the right answer? All right. How many people actually had that before I said it? And what got you? Did you think that this one wasn't included or something? Like not that one or something?
I didn't think the 0.16 is the 0.056.
You didn't think this was possible?
No, because it said B or C, so I put the, like, you know when you do B or C with just one diagram?
Okay.
Just the ones that intersect. So I just put 0.12 and 0.0 or 0.104 plus.
Here's a way to answer that question about B or C, okay? If you ask these people, do you get paper C or paper B? What would they say? Yes. Do you get paper C or paper B? Yes. Do you get paper C or paper B? Yes. See what I'm saying? So they would all say yes, and therefore they're all in. I ask these people, do you get paper B or paper C? They say no. So they're out. Same with these people, and that's why it's all the others. Okay. All right, that was the toughest one. At least I stumped you on one of them. At least there's some chance of having difficulty on this. All right, there's your worksheet, 12.3b. Next, I think did we already grade the homework yet? All right, excellent. Then I'll get those scores from you at the end of the hour. No. Okay, I'm going to actually tell you a couple problems you can skip for 12.3 worksheet. Pause. Okay, so here's the worksheet, and I would say that first whole problem is a good problem, all parts of it. Going to number 2, we have a frequency and a probability Venn. You got to make a Venn. That's a really important skill, and frankly, the most marked wrong problem on this next test. People get the making the Venn problem wrong more than any other. So just let's definitely do this one. And there's a whole lot of questions about it. Then this one's making a triple Venn, which was this a triple Venn too? Yeah, it was. No, this was a double Venn. You know what? Let's skip the make a double Venn question. I can live with that. And you have to do the triple Venn. Yeah, we did doubles yesterday. That'll make this problem more reasonable sized. This assignment. So you may skip the section on double Venns. If you feel like you need to practice, absolutely do it. You know you could. It's not like I'm saying you may not do it. It's just you may skip this if you would like. Okay, that's all I got for you for today.